Hello everyone, thank you so much for all your support in my previous video, and I really want to take time out and congratulate all of you guys who have come this far, have given your exams, done interviews, or even if you've done your Carms application. That is a big achievement. For all of you who have not received any interview, don't lose hope, because I am the biggest example. I would say, like, I matched in my second iteration in one of the top choices I have had on my list. So don't give up. Make sure you start working on your second iteration, and I'm there to help if you want any kind of help. I'm there to help you guys. Make sure to comment down or let me know. You can email me, and I'm there to help you guys with second iteration. For people who have already done their interviews in Ontario, even across Canada, let's talk about rank order list now. So, in terms of rank order list, what is rank order list, and what is basically the purpose of this list? So, one thing to remember is, let's say if you have not interviewed with either university across Canada, and you're not sure if you're supposed to, rank the programs or no. So, let's say if you haven't done any interviews, you were not invited for any interviews, you have two options. One, either you do a rank order list, or you withdraw from it. So, what would happen if you rank the program, and what would happen if you withdraw? If you rank the program, it wouldn't really change anything. It would just be that you would not be able to participate in second iteration before, until and unless you withdraw from it, right? So, if let's say you have no interviews, there's no harm in ranking the list, but there's no chance of even matching with that. So, doesn't really makes any difference. So, it's up to you, right? If you, let's say, withdraw from it, the only thing that would happen is that you would be able to work on your second iteration earlier on. And by that, I mean to say you have an access to application. You can start amending your application. So you can make amendments in your comms application. So, if if I would recommend this or no, I would say, at times, we need satisfaction. So for your satisfaction, you can either rank the programs, wait for the match day, and then you can start working on the comms application. And in the meanwhile, you can work on your personal statement and your CV. In this part, let's say you have ranked, but until match day, you cannot. You have to wait for the match day as well, and then you will be able to start the working on your second iteration. If you, let's say, withdraw and you don't rank, you would still have to pay additional amount for second iteration, and then only you will be able to start working on your application. So second iteration, you have to pay additional fee. So there's an amount for second iteration for each program, like you did in the first one. So the programs that you're applying for second iteration, you still have to pay some amount for that, unfortunately. But these are the two options for people who have not received any interview. For people who have received interview, what are you gonna do now? So you have, let's say, programs listed on your comms application. You have like this entire box where you have your application. It says the status and all those things, right? So in that scenario, how are you gonna rank now? So there's one table for your universities, and then the programs, the acceptance of, and the interview call, and then what is the final outcome. So how would you rank? You would literally do number one, number two, number three, number four, according to your preference. That means then the program that you rate number one is going to be your top choice. The second one would be your second choice, third choice, fourth choice, and so on and so forth, right? So now talking about, let's say, how do you have to do? What are the things to consider? So let's say you have applied across Canada in family medicine. That's what I did last year. So I applied across Canada in family medicine, but I remember I did not apply it in Calgary because I wasn't able to do so. But let's say for family medicine, you are doing BC, you are doing Ontario, you are doing Sask or Manitoba, or you're also doing, let's say, Dalhousie. So these are the programs which usually, let's say, you have interviewed with. Usually people would have interviewed with 4 to 5 programs or 2 to 3 programs, right? So what are the things to consider when you're ranking a program? First thing would be considering the province, like which province do you want to stay in. Do you want to stay in the province that you're in? Let's say if I was in Ontario, I wanted to stay in Ontario. So I kept, although I did interviewed with Sask and Manitoba, and yeah, I did interview with these two as well. But I ranked Ontario first because I was already living in Ontario. So that was my first choice in terms of province. Now coming to city, like which city would you want to stay in? Do you want to stay in Toronto? Do you want to stay in, let's say, you know, you want to come to Ottawa, or you want to go to, let's say, London, Ontario, or where exactly you want to work in? Let's say people who have interviewed in Ontario, you do have options to rank all schools in Ontario, right? So you would be ranking as per your preference. Let's say if you're staying in there, you want to stay in that same area, you can apply for that same place, the same institute that you have in your locality. No matter if you had like McMaster people in your interview, or you had like TMU people in your interview, you can still rank the program of your choice. Okay, so let's say you interviewed with people from TMU, but you want to match in Toronto, so you can keep Toronto on the top list, and then you can rank down TMU beneath that, right? Now, talking about provinces, city after city is your preference in terms of family and housing. So this is a very essential part in residency, because once you match, you need to figure out moving cost. You have to consider like relocation, housing, renting, your family. Are you gonna stay in there? Are you gonna move your family along with you? Like these are the things very important throughout your residency, because residency is for 2 years. It just passed by really quickly, but then at the end of the day, you're coming home, you're all alone, you need somebody around you, you need wellness and all those things. So it is really important to consider these things when you're ranking the program, because at the end of the day, if you match to another province and you don't have your family around, then it becomes a little tricky, right? So considering the family and housing cost, and then considering the program itself, right? So let's say you have interviewed with um, people from XYZ's university, and then you thought, okay, maybe I didn't really like so and so part of my interview, or I didn't really connected well with them. So I think you get a bit of idea during those interview sessions as well. So you go to the website, you read about the program as well. You get to know, you read about their residents, reviews, or residents. There are a few articles from residents on the website as well. You go on different websites, you get to read about the program, the LinkedIn profiles of different residents, like what kind of progress are they making in their life. So I would recommend like going through the LinkedIn profile as well. That would be really helpful for in terms of like finding out what's the progress like, what's the success rate. And then you talk about like also reviewing the website, because you get an insight about what is the program like, and what are the activities that they are offering, and all those things. But this really comes down the list. The most important thing is figuring out the province, the city, and your family housing. Like top three things are the most important things for me. Another most important thing that I should have written above, but it's okay, I'll just write here, is you need to figure out like if you want to do urban versus rural. Let's say if you're doing Ontario, even in Ontario, let's say you've done Toronto. So Toronto has programs in the urban area as well as in rural areas. So are you gonna rank, let's say, Toronto urban, and then let's say Toronto, you want to do Toronto rural second, or you want to do, let's say, instead of this, you want to again do Western urban, right? So let's say let me make it clear on the list here. So you're doing Toronto urban, and you are doing Western urban. So you want to keep urban just on the top. That's how I did. And then you want to rank Toronto rural down the list, right? Because you are more interested in doing urban versus rural, right? For me, in my case, I wanted to stay in urban areas. So that's how I ranked. I ranked urban versus rural down the list. Let's say now question comes, let's say if you're interviewed in Ontario, and then you've also interviewed in Sask, would you want to do like Ontario urban first, and then you want to do Sask urban? Or would you prefer staying in the same province, you want to do Ontario urban, and then Ontario rural, and then Sask urban down the list, because this is like you're changing the province. So these are few considerations when you're making your rank order list. You need to figure out, in general, trust me, this is actually very real, that they prefer your preference. Let's say you've put the list Toronto urban, Western urban, and let's say then you're putting in TMU and then Toronto rural, and then down the list you want to put urban, Manitoba urban, and then you want to put Sask urban. So you're putting in urban first, and then you put in rural down there in the list. So trust me, let's say if you match, if Toronto urban is let's say ranking you, and you have also ranked Toronto urban on the top on the list, so you would match there, right? Let's say if Toronto urban, you are putting it top on the list, but they are not ranking you top on your on their list, so you would not match there. Why? Because for you to match there, they also need to rank you top on the list. So let's say they haven't ranked you on their list, so you there's no chance that you would match there. Let's say West, instead of Toronto, TMU has ranked you, but you haven't ranked TMU on the top. Instead you have ranked Western on the top before TMU. So you have ranked Western, and Western has also ranked you. So you would match here, right? And let's say if Western hasn't ranked you, Toronto hasn't ranked you, but you have ranked both of them on first and second choice, but they haven't ranked you. You are not matching those choices. But TMU has ranked you, right? Toronto hasn't ranked you, Western hasn't ranked you, but TMU has ranked you. So if they are ranking you and you're also ranking them, that means you would match there. So anything that comes just on the top of the list and they have ranked you, you would just match there. Let's say Manitoba Urban has ranked you, but on the top four choices hasn't ranked you, so you would match to Manitoba Urban. So depending on whichever program first would rank you, you would match there. Let's say if two programs are ranking you, let's say Manitoba Urban is ranking you and TMU is ranking you, where would you match then? So you would match on the TMU first because your on the top list is TMU. So this is why rank order list is important. Let's say you've matched to two different provinces, but TMU has ranked you and you have ranked TMU above Manitoba. So you would match at TMU. Why? Because your preference is TMU than Manitoba. So you would not match to Manitoba Urban, but you would match to TMU. And you never get to know that who has ranked you in general other than the program that you match to. So let's say I match to Ottawa. So now I know like I match to Ottawa because they ranked me and I also ranked them second on my list or first on my list. But you never get to know like who else would have ranked you. Okay, so you get to know your final results in general. So after your ranking, so these are a few things to consider when you're doing your rank order list. More importantly, you have also have to follow like the career goals, when you're looking through program university website and all these things. I would also encourage you to read through the career goals. What are your career goals, what you want to do in long term, like these things later comes on in your rank order list. Like fellowship, are you really serious about fellowship opportunities? So which program has more fellowship opportunities? Like if you're really enthusiastic in terms of your career, you really want to focus on 1+ year, or if you just want to become a family doctor and you have a family life, you want to keep work life balance, all those things, then I think the top three things are the most important for you to consider. Actually, province, city, family, and then urban, I would say, is also an important thing to consider. Whereas like career program, university, these things does matter, but at the end of the day it's your personal consideration first, then these considerations. In general, like people would talk about like program reputation in general, but as an IMG, I haven't really seen people talking about these things. In general, like it doesn't matter. The most important thing is your personal preferences, and then these things matter. So program reputation is not as important to consider during ranking, other than like the first four thing that I've mentioned. Mistakes to avoid. So mistakes to avoid is avoid thinking that ranking based on where you think you will match. So don't think that oh, my interview went better with Manitoba versus Ontario, so I would want to mention Manitoba first. Don't make this mistake. You never know, Ontario might like you, they might rank you, but since you have put Manitoba top on the list, you may end up matching in Manitoba versus you had a chance of matching in Ontario while living in Ontario. So make sure let's say you have you really dream to match in Toronto, but you haven't interviewed with team in Toronto. You have interviewed with team in TMU or McMaster. You still want to do U of T on the top because that's your first choice. So rank your list in terms of choices. One more important thing about this rank order list is, let's say you have ranked TMU, Western, Toronto, Rural, and Manitoba and Sask. And let's say you haven't interviewed with BC. Now, the question comes, should I put BC on the list or not at all? I would say rank those programs first, which you have interviewed with and which are your top choices. So, two important things here are interviewed, you have interviewed with them, number one. Number two is your top choice. This is the goal. So once you are actually doing interview plus top choices, you will be putting those on the top on the list. BC would still come in the list, but would be down the list because you haven't interviewed with them. There's less likely the chance that they would rank you or you would rank them. So you can keep them down the list, but that's not something that I would keep on the top or in the third or fourth between my places where I've done interviewed with, right? You would never keep or BC between Toronto rural and Manitoba urban. Why? Because if you have done an interview with Ontario and Manitoba or Sask, you would keep those institute first rather than BC where you haven't interviewed. So places where you have interviewed are the places that you will be ranking. Okay, so over valuing prestige over fit. So in general, don't think about like reputation. Let's say U of T has more names, so I would want to rank that university more. So don't do these things. Put your preferences on the top in general. And try not to ignore family and personal priorities as well, because these are really important. And make sure to do enough research on the program. Go on their websites, read about it. Let's say you're really interested in two different programs, you're not sure which one to match and which one to apply for. Go to their websites, read about them on their websites. Practical tips are, make a spreadsheet or a table or list of programs. You can write notes on that and you can start listing down the programs, like which one would you want to do. So you can make a rough draft of your rank order list, and then that rough draft can be amended according to your preference as well. So I rank the programs higher because of my personal preferences first. Like I wanted to stay in Ontario because I have been in Ontario, and then I ranked it according to my preferences, like which program I like better during my interview, and then I would rank the different programs depending on like how the interview went. And in general, I did also ranked I ranked the program in the program that I did not interviewed with in the first iteration as well, and also in the second iteration. So I was not holding back myself because I did not interviewed with so and so program, so I still ranked them. So I would still recommend like ranking them. It wouldn't really change anything, but just for your own personal satisfaction, I would say. So in general, I think this video might have helped you. If you have any questions, make sure to comment down below and let me know if you need any help with ranking order list. And also for second iteration, I would wish you guys all good luck. And then before result, I wish I can make another video to talk about like result details, like when would it come and how would it appear on Carms application. So we'll talk about that. But first, for now, I think this is it. Good luck to all of you. I hope you match, and once you match, please make sure to let me know that you've matched. I'll be more than happy and congratulate you. Thank you. Take care of yourself. Bye.